This is a demonstration of the OptimEyes measurement and calibration tools. We'll start off with just the measurement tool, measuring the distance between 2 points in an image. Let's say we need to know the distance between the tips of these first two lines. We'll open the measurement tool, click point-to-point measurement, set our ROI mode to draw point ROIs, and then click the tips of each of the lines. As you can see, the measurement tool now displays the distance between the 2 points, which is 80.025 pixels. But what if we want to measure the real-world distance in inches instead of pixels? To do that, we'll need to create a calibration object. If there were something in this image that we knew the real-world measurements of, we could create a calibration object using this image. But since we don't know the measurements of anything in this image, we'll need another image taken with the same camera in the same position, which contains markings that we can use to calibrate. For this demonstration, we'll pretend that that's the case with this image. Before we continue, I'm going to turn ROI drawing off just for convenience later in this demonstration. To set up the calibration, we'll open the calibration tool, and then we'll need to set up 4 calibration points. I'll start by clicking point 1, and then clicking on the image in the position where I want the first calibration point to be. Since that's point 1, 1 on my grid, I'll enter 1, 1 as the world coordinates. Now I'll click point 2 and set another point. This one is at position 1, 8 on the grid. Note that you'll get the most accurate calibration if you set your calibration points near the 4 corners of your image. Now let's set point 3 at grid position 10, 8. And finally, we'll place point 4 at grid position 10, 1. When setting up a calibration, we want our points positioned as accurately as possible. So let's zoom in and nudge them around a little to ensure that they're in the correct positions. To move a calibration point, I right-click to activate it, and then I can move it using the arrow keys on my keyboard. You'll notice that as I move the calibration point, the image coordinate numbers in the calibration tool update automatically. Next, I'll use the Tab key to scroll to and activate the next calibration point. I could, of course, use the scroll bars to find each point and then right-click to activate it, but using the Tab key is easier. Now that our calibration points are set accurately, I can click Create to create the calibration object, and then, if I click Test of Selected Calibration Object, I can verify that it's working as desired by moving the mouse around the image and checking that the world coordinates that are displayed are correct. For example, if I position the mouse near grid location 8, 6, you'll see that the tool displays the expected numbers. So now we have a good calibration, and we want to apply it to our measurement in the other image. Again, for the sake of this demonstration, we're pretending that both images were taken with the same camera in the same position. We'll activate the image whose measurements we want to calibrate, select the calibration, and click Attach to Image. With the calibration attached to the image, any OptimEyes tools that make measurements of distance or pixels or area will display their measurements in the calibrated units rather than in pixels. To update our measurement, we'll click Point to Point again to clear the old measurement, and then right-click each of our point ROIs to activate them and make the measurement again. As you can see, the distance between them is now calculated to be 1.419 inches. Inches are displayed because here in our calibration tool, we had selected inches as our unit of measure when we created the calibration object. If we line the two images up with each other, you can see that the points are indeed just short of 1.5 lines or inches apart from each other.